Hi, welcome back to another episode of Baking Geek. Today we're going to be talking about your sourdough starter, or mine or whoever's. Okay, I've had a lot of people asking me lately, how do you care for it, how do you start it, when do you use it, all these sort of questions. Hopefully we can cover all that today. Okay, so how do you start a sourdough starter? Good question. What we've got here, we've got a jar, you'll need one of them to start. I've got a couple of sultanas and a couple of raisins, a bit of dried fruit. Now, on the outside of fruit, you'll see a naturally occurring type of yeast, and when they dry that into a raisin or sultana, that is sent into a dormant state. Now, what we're going to do is wake that natural yeast up, and we're going to turn that into our culture. Another thing you can use for your culture is a little bit of yogurt, and we're going to even chuck some honey in there as well. First of all, I've got the jar, I've got a couple of sultanas in there. We're just going to add a little bit of water. Now, at this point in time, it doesn't really matter how much water or how much... Hang on, just grab a knife, hang on. How much water or how much flour you're going to use, because what we're going to do now is we're just going to create a paste, basically, and you want it to be a fairly thick sort of paste, so I'm not really going to get hung up on measurements or anything like that. We've got a small amount of water in the jar there, maybe 50 mils, I don't know. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of tablespoons of flour and whack that in the jar. There we go, and we're just going to mix that into a paste. There we go, that'll do. Okay, now, here's one I created earlier. Okay, I made one last night just so I could show it to you. Here, I like these jars actually, they're plastic. The other jars are glass, and sometimes you tend to drop them and break them, and you're not going to salvage any starter out of that. So this is how you get a culture to last you 25 years or so. So I made this one last night, and what we're going to do with it is... You can't smell anything just yet. It takes a long time it takes several days. Over the course of several days, this is what you're going to do. So we're going to just step back here a little bit. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to discard some of our sourdough that we made last night. There's sultanas in there, get rid of a couple of those. And we're going to leave, I don't know, you're going to leave a little bit of it. I'd say I've just discarded 50% of that. So we're going to, a little bit of water, like again, I'm not even measuring this stuff right now. Mix that starter up with your water. Okay, and then we're just going to drop some flour into that one as well. A couple of tablespoons, there we go. And we're just going to mix it. Now, you don't want it too thin, you don't want it too thick, you want it just right. After a while you'll get used to, how much flour you should or shouldn't add. They say with a thick starter you get less of the sour taste. With a thinner starter you get more of a sour taste. So depending on how you like your sourdough bread. There we go, so I've made that into a fairly thick sort of paste. And hopefully tomorrow we might even see some bubbles. Okay, now what does a healthy sourdough starter look like? I've got a couple here. I just fed this one this morning. So as you can see, I'll get a bit closer to the camera. You'll start to see some bubbles up on the side. When it's really active, you'll open it up and you'll see the top all bubbling. That's when it's at its nominal use, I'd say, to put into your bread. You don't want it underactive when you go to make your bread. You don't want it on the deflate in your bread either. So that one's really good. I just pulled that one out of the fridge this morning, so you can see the bubbles there. That one is quite active, I'd say, and if I was going to make bread today, I'd probably use this one, I'd say, rather than the one I fed this morning. Now, I've got a couple of different cultures here. I've said before, I've got one that's 25 years old. I've got this one here I bought off eBay it's 400 years old apparently. Who knows? Anyway, so that's how you start your starter. So when I go to use this, I'll use maybe 100 grams of this into say 400 grams of flour. That will get my bread kicking, and then I'll just feed it as you saw before, just a bit of water, couple of tablespoons of flour, and make it into a sort of medium sort of paste. You don't want it too thick, don't want it too thin. That's it. And if you're not going to use it, you can chuck it in the fridge, and that will remain dormant for a little while. Pull it out maybe once a week and feed it. If you're not going to make bread, it'll last there for ages. So if I'm making bread every day, I'll leave that on the counter and just keep feeding it or using it. And yeah, that's how you do it, folks. Let me know in the comments how you like that. Let me know what you created your culture with. You can use yogurt, like I said. You can put honey into it, fruits. Be adventurous. Yeah, there's no rules. Okay, all right. See you next time.